Welcome, football fans, to this NFL Week 14 preview on Tim Reynolds Show. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel as I'm covering all the games for this upcoming Sunday and Monday night in Week 14 of the 2024 NFL season. And we'll kick it off here with the Las Vegas Raiders traveling to take on my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Buccaneers come here into this game as a 6.5 point favorite with a 46.5 point total in this matchup. I'm going to take the over in this one as I really do think this Buccaneers offense is on fire as of late, and that should continue with rookie running back Bucky Irving having a breakout game last week with a career high 152 yards rushing and almost 200 total scrimmage yards to lead the Buccaneers offense to a victory over the Carolina Panthers in overtime. But they come into this matchup going up against a Las Vegas Raiders defense that has been really bad in the secondary, giving up a lot of points there. But look out for pass rusher Max Crosby, who's been getting to the quarterback at a very high rate for this Raiders defense, but they're going up against quarterback Baker Mayfield in this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. As we see, Baker already has over 3,000 yards passing and 25 passing touchdowns, and they'll look to feed all-pro wide receiver Mike Evans, who's looking good coming off of his hamstring injury, as they're trying to get him over 1,000 yards this season. But it's the two-headed backfield with Rashad Wright and Bucky Irving that I think is going to make the big difference in this matchup, as the Buccaneers running game has been one of the best in the NFL, and I expect that to continue going up against a suspect Raiders defense. As I'm rolling with the home team, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as I think they'll get the victory in this matchup in Week 14. Then next up here, guys, on the Sunday slate, we see the Cleveland Browns at 3-9 traveling to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers at 9-3, who are 4-1 at home, and we see Pittsburgh comes in as a 6.5 point favorite in this one with a 43.5 point total in this matchup. I expect to get the over in this one, especially after seeing how many points the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns scored last week in Week 13 in their particular matchups. Man, I really do think we'll see a big shootout in this one, as quarterback Jameis Winston of the Cleveland Browns had almost 500 yards passing on Monday night with 4 touchdown passes, but unfortunately, he also had 2 pick sixes that proved to be very costly on Monday night against the Denver Broncos. But we see the Pittsburgh Steelers come into this matchup with a very hot offense that scored 44 points total against the Cincinnati Bengals last week. So with them being on fire that way, look for quarterback Russell Wilson to feed running back Najee Harris, who has over 800 yards rushing on the year, as the Pittsburgh Steelers look to have a balanced attack on offense going up against a tough Cleveland Browns defense. But man, Myles Garrett, look for him to get to the quarterback and wreck the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers, as I'm rolling with the upset in this one, guys. That's right, I'm thinking the Cleveland Browns can get the victory in this one. They've already upset Pittsburgh before, and we know sometimes Pittsburgh doesn't always show up for some of these other teams with a lower record, if you will, but I expect this to be a tough divisional matchup, and look for wide receiver Jerry Jeudy to break out once again, as he had over 200 receiving yards in his return to Denver, and he balled out on Monday night, and I expect that to continue, as he has almost 900 yards on the year and 3 passing receptions, I should say, from Jameis Winston. Then next up here, guys, on the Sunday slate, we see the Carolina Panthers at 3-9 traveling to take on the 10-2 Philadelphia Eagles, who are 4-1 at home, and the Eagles come into this matchup as a 13.5 point favorite going up against the Carolina Panthers team that has been playing better as of late, but after back-to-back losses with tough, really gritty performances against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they lost to them in overtime last week, I really do think that the Philadelphia Eagles come into this matchup as the hottest team in the NFL right now, as running back Saquon Barkley is looking like a prime MVP candidate. I don't care what anybody says, guys. You have got to put Saquon Barkley in the MVP conversation. Forget the quarterbacks. He's playing remarkable with almost 1,500 yards rushing and 11 touchdowns on the ground, and not to mention the amount of work he's getting in the passing game is really helping out quarterback Jalen Hurts and this Philadelphia Eagles offense as they go up against a Carolina Panthers defense that's really been giving up a lot of rushing yards, just like we seen last week from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So with the Panthers playing a little bit better on offense, with quarterback Bryce Young starting to find some rapport between wide receiver Adam Thielen and wide receiver rookie Legette, number 17, I really do think that it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth game, a little bit closer than a 13.5 point total, but I'm definitely taking at least a 10-point victory as I'm picking the Philadelphia Eagles, the home team, to get the victory in this matchup. Then next up here, guys, on the Sunday slate, we see the New Orleans Saints at 4-8 traveling to take on the New York Giants, who are 2-10 and 0-6 at home. As we see, New Orleans comes in as a 5.5 point favorite in this matchup with a point total of 40.5 points, and I might take the under in this one, guys, as both of these offenses have just been inconsistent all year long, and we do expect that backup quarterback Drew Lock will be the starter for the New York Giants offense heading into this game as they go up against a stingy Saints defense that's been pretty decent as of late, but they're definitely coming off of a bad loss last week against the Los Angeles Rams where they gave up too many fourth quarter points. But we also see for the New York Giants offense, they could be without rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors, who actually is dealing with an injury heading into this week and could miss this game. And then we see for the New Orleans Saints offense, Alvin Kamara has been the go-to guy as he has almost 900 yards rushing on the year and 6 rushing TDs. Look for him to be the focal point in this game as I'm rolling with the road team, as I think the New Orleans Saints will get the victory against the New York Giants in week 14. That's my prediction right here on Tim Reynolds Show as we move on to our next game where we see the Atlanta Falcons at 6-6 traveling to take on the 10-2 Minnesota Vikings, who are 5-1 at home, and they come into this matchup, the Vikings do, as a 5.5 point favorite, and the point total for this game is 45.5 points, and I expect it to be a high scoring game, but look out for Kirk Cousins because this guy has been turning the ball over all year long, throwing the ball pretty well. He's got over 3,000 yards passing and 17 passing TDs, but he's got 13 interceptions on the year and also has double-digit fumbles. So that's been a costly thing for this Atlanta Falcons offense as they go up against a very, very good Minnesota Vikings defense led by defensive coordinator Brian Flores, who's had this team cooking on defense as of late. But this defense will be without veteran cornerback Stephon Gilmore as he's been ruled out with an injury for this game. So look out for the passing attack from the Atlanta Falcons. But if the Minnesota Vikings can get some turnovers and be able to really take advantage of those turnovers, especially with quarterback Sam Darnold playing the way he's playing and the running game playing very, very well for the Minnesota Vikings, I really do think that that's going to make all the difference. But I got to give a shout out and a congratulations to Justin Jefferson, who got over 1,000 yards receiving last week. He's also got 5 TDs on the year, but Justin Jefferson now becomes only the 5th player in NFL history to have over 1,000 receiving yards in every single year as he's come into the league, I think in his first 5 seasons here. So congratulations to him on getting to 1,000 receiving yards. And I'm rolling with the home team, guys, as Tim Reynolds Show is predicting that the Minnesota Vikings get the victory in this one, and that means the Atlanta Falcons continue to reel as this will push them under 500 and drop them out of the division lead in the NFC South, and the Vikings are looking to stay at the top of the standings as they're only 1 game behind the Detroit Lions in their division. And we see next up here, guys, on the Sunday slate, we've got the New York Jets traveling to take on the Miami Dolphins. And we see in this particular matchup, Miami comes into this matchup as a 6-point favorite with a 44.5 point total expected in this matchup. I really do think the Miami Dolphins offense is going to look to bounce back after a bad loss against the Green Bay Packers last week on Thanksgiving night there on the frozen tundra in Orlando. And guys, Miami Dolphins are back at home, so they're going to look to have some home cooking going up against a New York Jets team that's just been faltering as of late, 3-9 on the year, not really been able to be consistent or play up to their standards like they have on defense. So I expect Tua Tagovailoa to really be able to pick apart this Jets defense, as Tua had over 300 yards passing last week against a tough Green Bay Packers secondary. So look for him to have a big day here going up against a subpar New York Jets secondary. And for the offense for the Jets, they just haven't been able to be consistent, not only in the running game, but also in the passing game, as as Aaron Rodgers has 19 touchdown passes on the year, but also 8 interceptions. Too many turnovers and just too much inconsistency for this New York Jets team as they go into this matchup against the Miami Dolphins, who are still fighting for a playoff spot. And that's why I'm rolling with the Miami Dolphins here at home, as Tim Reynolds Show is predicting that the Miami Dolphins get the victory over the New York Jets in Week 14. Then next up here, guys, we see the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to take on the Tennessee Titans, and we see that the Titans come in as a 3.5-point favorite in this matchup with a point total expected of 40.5 points. I'd probably take the under in this one, guys, as I really do think that these offenses who have struggled all year long will continue to struggle, but look for quarterback Will Levis of the Tennessee Titans offense to try to cement his spot as the starter for next season, as he's been playing better as of late. But this offense is going to lead on the running game, as running back Tony Pollard has almost over 800 yards rushing on the year, so they'll look to lean on him. But man, this Jacksonville Jaguars offense has a really big playmaker on the outside at the wide receiver position, as Brian Thomas Jr. has been balling out, looking like the number one target for this Jaguars offense. But we see quarterback Mac Jones will be the starter here for the Jacksonville Jaguars after starting quarterback Trevor Lawrence was put on injured reserve and he will miss the rest of the season. And because of that, I'm rolling with the home team in this one, as I think the Tennessee Titans defense will be able to stop this Jacksonville Jaguars offense that has just not played good throughout the year, not been able to get anything going really in the running game. And I really do think that the Tennessee Titans are on an uptick, and I think they'll get the victory here, as Tim Reynolds Show's predicting the Titans get a home victory here in Week 14. Then next up here, guys, on the Sunday slate, we see the Seattle Seahawks traveling to take on the Arizona Cardinals. And now this NFC West division is very, very tight. A lot of these teams only within 1 or 2 games of each other. So this is a big pivotal matchup in this division, as we see Arizona is a 2.5-point favorite going into this matchup with a 44.5-point total expected in this one. I might take the over in this one, but the Seattle Seahawks defense has been playing very, very well as of late. But we see running back James Conner of the Arizona Cardinals offense has been running the ball very, very well, as the Cardinals offense led by quarterback Kyler Murray look to get a lot more balance on that offense if they want any chance to win this game. Plus they got to feed rookie wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who's been balling out this year, and I really do expect them to try to get him the ball early in order for them to be able to compete very, very well. And also look out for tight end McBride, who's also been a really good bright spot for this Arizona Cardinals team. Now we see a lot of injuries coming into this matchup for both teams, especially for the Seattle Seahawks. 2 key injuries on the offensive side. Kenneth Walker III, the running back, is questionable, and also wide receiver DK Metcalf is also questionable. And Leonard Williams, the standout defensive end who won Defensive Player of the Week for the NFC last week after he made a record-breaking 94-yard interception return, which is the longest interception return from a defensive lineman in NFL history. I believe it was over 90 yards or something like crazy like that. But we see the Seattle Seahawks coming into this matchup as the underdog, which I'm a little surprised about, as quarterback Geno Smith has been playing better as of late. He's trying to keep the turnovers down and also trying to get the ball to a bunch of his playmakers, as Tim Reynolds Show's going to roll with the road team in this one, as I believe the Seattle Seahawks are a better team, and I think they'll get the victory here in Week 14. The upset over the Arizona Cardinals on the road in Week 14. But then next up, guys, we got one of our better matchups, as we will see the Buffalo Bills at 10-2 travel to take on the 6-6 Los Angeles Rams. And we see Buffalo comes into this matchup as a 3.5-point favorite with a point total of 49.5 points. And I really do think that this is going to be a shootout, guys. I might even be willing to take the over in this one. But the Buffalo Bills defense has been playing really good as of late, only giving up 10 points last week in the snow against the San Francisco 49ers team. But look out for this Los Angeles Rams offense, as quarterback Matthew Stafford has been balling with almost 3,000 yards passing. But we also see Kyron Williams, the running back for the Rams, has been epic this year with already 10 rushing touchdowns and almost 1,000 yards on the ground. Look for the Rams to really run the ball down the Buffalo Bills' throats in order for them to control the clock and have any chance in this game, as we do see that quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, has been looking like a prime MVP candidate heading into this matchup, going up against the Los Angeles Rams. He could be able to have a big stat day in this one, as we already see. He's got over 2,600 yards passing, 20 touchdowns on the year, and only 5 interceptions, so he's not turning the ball over, but he's also really using his legs a lot to really help out this team. But running back James Cook already has over 700 yards rushing on the year with 11 rushing TDs, and I really do think that they'll lean on the running game in this one, as I'm rolling with the Buffalo Bills in this one, as Tim Reynolds Show is predicting that the Bills come in and get the victory on the road to improve to 11-2 on the season. And the Rams will have to continue to fight throughout the season, as they are really within a divisional battle here in the NFC West at a 6-6 record. But even with the loss here, they'll still have a chance throughout the rest of the year to continue to stack up some wins to hopefully get a playoff spot. Then next up here, guys, on the Sunday slate, we see the Chicago Bears at 4-8 and 0-5 on the road, traveling to take on the San Francisco 49ers. And the Niners come here into this matchup with a bunch of injuries. That's right, as we see San Francisco come into this game as a 4-point favorite with a point total of 43.5 points heading into this matchup in Week 14. And on the injury report here for the San Francisco 49ers, All-Pro left tackle Trent Williams is questionable to play in this one, and we also see that both of their starting running backs, Jason Mason and also Christian McCaffrey, will be out for the San Francisco 49ers in this matchup and probably the rest of the season, as both of them have been placed on IR. So we'll see Brock Purdy have to try to manage this offense without two of his big playmakers in the backfield. And the running game is usually what's been helping out the San Francisco offense throughout the year in order for them to be a little bit better, a little bit more consistent, and be able to get some wins. But they go up against the Chicago Bears team that is reeling, coming off of a blunder, if you will, on Thanksgiving Day against the Detroit Lions that led to their head coach being fired. The first time that they fired their head coach midseason in their 102-year franchise history. So the Bears are definitely going to look to bounce back and make a statement in this one. And guess what? I'm rolling with the Chicago Bears in this one, guys, as I just think there's too many injuries for the San Francisco 49ers team. We also see on defense that All-Pro defensive end Nick Bosa is also questionable to play in this one, but he's going to probably try to play. And also All-Pro linebacker Fred Warner is dealing with a fractured ankle that he's playing with. And because of all the injuries on the offense too, I think the Bears could be poised to get their first road win of the year here against the 49ers in Week 14. Then next up here, guys, we see our Sunday Night Football primetime matchup where we see the Los Angeles Chargers at 8-4 traveling to take on the 11-1 Kansas City Chiefs, who are 6-0 at home in Arrowhead, the home of the Chiefs. And we see Patrick Mahomes is having kind of a down year, even though he has almost 3,000 yards passing. But look for the running game to be really key in this one for the Kansas City Chiefs offense, as they're hoping to get Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco going in the running game to help balance out this offense even better. But they go up against a Los Angeles Chargers defense that's been really good as of late, especially with pass rusher Khalil Mack coming into the fold and being a big leader for this team, as they've been really stingy, especially in the secondary. As we seen last week, they picked off starting quarterback Kirk Cousins of the Atlanta Falcons 4 times, including a pick 6. So look out for this Chargers team. They look really good on defense, and they're also led on offense by, you know his name, Justin Herbert, and the rookie wide receiver Ladd McConkey has been balling out with over 800 yards receiving and 4 passing touchdowns, or I should say receiving touchdowns on the year. Look for him to be a focal point here for this Chargers offense, as I really do think he could be the number 1 guy here for the Chargers for Justin Herbert. But he's also questionable heading into this game, so that could be something to keep an eye on. Definitely heading into this matchup, as we do see that the Chargers in this one are underdogs. Kansas City is a 4-point favorite, a point total of 42.5 points in this one, as I'm rolling with the Chargers, man. That's right. I think it's going to be hardball football, and I think the Chargers should be able to get the upset victory, especially with how good they've been playing as of late. Then finally, guys, we have Monday Night Football, where we see the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to take on the Dallas Cowboys, who finally got their first win in Jerry World last week at home, and they come into this matchup as underdogs, as Cincinnati is a 5-point favorite into this matchup with a 49.5 point total expected in this one. I think I might take the over, as we've seen Cooper Rush really play a lot better for this Dallas Cowboys offense, as they starting to find some balance and they're starting to get the ball to their playmakers, including wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. But because of how bad this Cincinnati Bengals defense has been, that's why I think it's going to be a shootout. Look for Dallas to maybe have their highest point total of the year going up against a Bengals defense that just can't stop anybody. They can't even stop a nosebleed right now with the way they've been playing on defense. But man, how about this Cincinnati Bengals offense? Joe Burrow is looking like an MVP candidate with the numbers that he's putting up, with 30 touchdown passes to lead the NFL and only 5 picks, with over 3,300 yards passing on the year. But his team's record is 4-8. So nobody's going to vote for a guy to be MVP with a losing record like that. And we've also seen Ja'Marr Chase have a standout year with over 1,142 yards receiving and 13 receiving TDs. And man, Chase is definitely going to get his contract next season after this season. But man, coming into this matchup, I'm rolling with the Cincinnati Bengals, man. I just think that this offense has got too much firepower. And with all the injuries the Dallas Cowboys defense has been dealing with throughout the season, I really do think that that's going to make the difference. But expect the shootout in this one, as I'm definitely taking the over on the points total. And guys, this has been your Week 14 preview for NFL 2024 season on Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Hit me up in the comments to let me know what you guys think is going to happen in Week 14 and what you guys think of the show. Appreciate all the support, guys. Peace out, and everybody have a great day.